Hello, I am Sagar Shridesh and here I present you the basics of IELTS reading in academic. So we will be discussing about the overview of the reading IELTS test that is held on for academic module, and we'll be discussing how the test goes and what are the basic things that you have to take care of for appearing this IELTS reading test. So let's start. IELTS academic reading will be having a total of 3 sections, and it will be having 40 questions in total. The time that you will be getting for to answer the entire test will be 60 minutes. And remember, unlike listening test where you get an extra time to transfer the answer into your answer sheet, here in IELTS reading, whether it is an academic or it is a general, you won't be getting any extra time to transfer the answer into the answer sheet. So we need to play a very caution that within the given time period, we not only we have to answer, we have to mark our answer. Generally we used to mark, first we mark the answers into the question paper and then later we transfer. So we have to take care about the time that that both of the things should happen within this 60 minutes of time. So this is the one thing, and another is this, that in all total of the 3 passages, if you will comprise on in general, you will be asked between 2150 words to 2750 words to read. So your speed of reading should be amazingly fast, because in the end of the session I will show you that how much time actually you will get to read the passage. So 2150 words to 2750 words will be is a general range which is expected for you to read within this 60 minutes of time. So this is a typical example of reading passages. How does it happen? So you can see that it is written reading passage 1. In the same way, there will be reading passage 2 and the reading passage 3. uh, sometime it is supported by a graph, like if you could see over here that it is supported by a picture. Sometime it is represent some figures will be there, charts will be there. So all these things are there, and then the passages starts like this, you can see these paragraphs A, B, C, D, E. But everywhere it did the kind of a paragraph passages, it will differ according to the situation, and not every time this passage like A, B, C, D, E is given over there. So it all depends upon the situation where it is given, and also depends upon the question that they are going to ask in the further things. Now once the passage will be finished, so these are the type of the questions. There are various type of questions, around 10, between 10 to 14 type of questions that will be asked. So you have to read the instructions carefully and then you have to answer it. That I will be discussing later on. So this is a typical example. I would just want to show you the example of how the paper is looks like exactly. So I have just here pasted only the passage 1. Likewise, there will be reading passage 2 and reading passage 3, and entire things you have to finish within the given time period of 60 minutes. Now, people do ask me that from where this kind of an content come. Is that the content that the Cambridge people make from their own or something like this? So I will so actually they pick up the passages from the various kind of a book, journals, newspaper, and magazines. And yes, the type of content in academic and journal differ. In academic, it is like descriptive and factual, and sometimes it is discursive to analytical. What is descriptive? Descriptive, where they will be describing certain situation, and factual, where they will the information will be like having some statistics, info, all such kind of a facts that will be presented over. Discursive will be in a more discursive, and analytical things will be in a more detail. So this type of text actually differs from the general. In the general, the third section used to have this passage type similar to this academic, but that particular content will be more based on day to day life. But here in academic, the kind of a text that you will be getting will be more on like a research based, or some kind of a survey, extensive survey that have been carried on, and the results will be declared over here. So you could say that academic will be having a more detailed kind of a text which requires quite a higher attention as compared to the general. Anyway, so this was just an example, and that yes, the text, as I have said, the text may be supported by graphs, pictures, or certain illustration. So we need to take care of, if it is done like this, we should pay attention to that things also. So what are the type of a question? As I have said that there will be total 40 questions in the 3 sections. So typically one section will be having, two section will be having around 13 question, and one of the section will be having 14 question. So in all it will be having 40 question. What I have generally seen that if these are the few type of questions that is being asked in IELTS, and or if you will analyze entire 3 sections, so almost all type of questions will be covered under one test. So like there are typical questions like matching heading questions, like there will be the there will be heading given, and then you will be asked that which paragraph matches to this particular heading. So it requires a complete reading of the passage. Then this is one of the typical question where people struggles a lot, that is the true, false, and not given. In the school time we are used to of doing only true and false, but here in IELTS test it's not given option, just makes the process quite more difficult. However, with the good strategy and practice, it is not that tough, and one could easily master this skill. But yes, this is one of the part where many students struggle. Then there are short answer questions. uh, you have to match the paragraph, uh, uh, which paragraph have this particular content, like that. Then there will be a summary given based on one passage or entire passage, and you have to complete that. It will be kind of a gap filling or fill in the blanks, you could say. In the same time, sentence completion is there. Then various kind of a multiple choice questions are there. Then you have to choose a title for each paragraph. It is one of the questions. Again, it is bit it is quite tricky, where students sometimes face a lot of difficulty. In fact, I will say that true, false, and not given in choosing a title is a two part of the entire IELTS question, where students struggle in the initial stage. However, once they master the things with due practice, diligence practice, it doesn't bother them. Then sometime there will be table, flow chart, or diagram, and they will be asked to required to complete those things, and matching sentence ending, like whatever the sentence they will be given, and you have to fill how it will end. So these are the various type of the questions. One thing you need to take care about in any IELTS, sorry, in any part of your IELTS test, like listening, reading, even for speaking or writing, that you have to follow the instructions carefully. So whenever you will be going to solve this question, the first thing that you have to do is to follow the instruction. Now there are many students who practice a lot before going for actual test, but and sometimes they just miss the instruction, like they may be asking to answer just in one words, and in their practice they are used to of answering like suppose 2 words or no more than 3 words, and they will be taking in granted. So it doesn't matter that how much time that you have practiced or not, but each time consider yourself as a very novice, and practice and read the instruction carefully in every occasion. So as I have said, that there are various kind of questions, so we need to solve in this particular, and I will be discussing about how to solve each particular kind of a question in my next videos. We will be considering those things. Here I will be just giving a brief idea that how a typical approach towards solving this IELTS reading test goes. Now this is a 5-step process, and it is recommended that one should start in this particular step, and later on when you will be progressing, when you will go into the advanced stage, you should devise your own strategy. Understand that you have to devise your own strategy. This is just a recommended part of an recommended thing, that how you could go ahead once you will be practicing and will be analyzing your answers, that why it is right, why it is wrong, how you can do within, then not only right and wrong, but you have to do within the given time period. Then you have to devise your own strategy, like which strategy you could adopt, which is strategy you could just discard it. So all this you have to devise by your own, but this is the typical 5 step. Remember one thing I just forgot to tell you, that it is a 60-minute test and there will be 3 passages. So it is recommended that you should solve one passage within 20 minutes of time. So 20 minutes, 20 minutes and 20 minutes. So 3 passages within the 60 minutes. Now within this 20 minute, you should be able to transfer your answer into the answer sheet also. Some people, what they do, that they first take the answer in the question paper, and in the last they just keep it, and in the last they transfer their answer into the answer sheet. Now many times it has happened that though they were able to take all the answers in their question paper, but they find quite constrained about the time when they start. Like suppose they have started within the 59th minute or 58th minute, and they have to write the answer into that answer sheet, all that 40 answers. So at that time there is a chance that they may mistake. Sometime it get mismatch, like they write the 38th answer in the 39th column, or 13 so likewise, or sometime even they write the wrong spelling, and sometime even they don't get sufficient time to transfer. So all these things, so my advice is like this, that within this 20-minute time per passage you should be able to transfer the answer also in the answer sheet. So like if you have solved the first passage, just transfer your answer into the answer sheet, then go to the second passage and then write the second answer, and then complete that particular passages, and likewise you have to proceed. So in case even if you are feeling getting short of time, then also at least you may have been answered 25 to 30 questions at least, if you are, even if you get shortage of the time in the last. So this is a 5 step process. Number one is step is to see and understand the picture or any pictorial representation if given. Not all passages are supported by such kind of a pictorial representation, but if it is given, like there will be, like as we have seen in our earlier illustrations of passage, there was a picture. So it is always advised to have a glance at that picture, because that picture gives a great good idea that how this particular passage, what will be the content of this particular passage. And understand, anticipation is one of the great skill in IELTS. If we are able to anticipate the things better, we will be in a good position to scheme the passage, understand the passage, scheme the passage, and in fact to answer correctly to the questions. So it is important for us to do that. Apart from this, then step 2 is read the title and subtitle carefully and try to anticipate the contents of the passage. Remember here that if you are going to read the passages in a very detail, it will consume a lot of time, and you may not be able to solve the questions within the given time limit. So reading the title and subtitle, which mostly people just skip it, they doesn't pay attention to the titles and the subtitles. Not all the article will be having title and subtitle, but if it is having, please read it carefully and try to anticipate the kind of a content that it will be having. I will be making an extra video for all this kind of a thing, that how you can do anticipate the things from the title and subtitle. After that, you have to read the instructions of the question. That means you need not to read the passage directly, you have to go to the questions and you have to read the instructions carefully, and then you have to read you must read all the questions. Like if it is a 1 to 13, you must read all the questions bit in a detail, and even if it is possible, try to anticipate it, that what could be the possible answer by using our common sense. In that way we will be in a better position to understand the question. Remember, if we remember or if we understand the question better, we will be in a better position to answer the question. And Within this step 3, you will in fact, without even reading the passage, you will now understand that what will be the basics content of the passage without even reading it. So it enables you to understand. When you will be going to read the passage, it just give you a more greater understanding. So now step 4 is skimming the passage. Now skimming is nothing but fast reading of the passages. I will be making an extra video also for this skimming, that how it is done. But it is said that if the faster you are able to skim, the better you will be perform in your IELTS reading test. Skimming is nothing but just having a fast reading. That means you should be getting familiar with the text, but there is a possibility that you may not understand the exact idea of the passage. But you don't worry, you just have to fast read the passage, so that you should understand that which content is where over there. So even if you are not getting the meaning of the passages at that particular time, don't worry, you just have to fast read. The typical time that is recommended for skimming is not more than 2 minutes though. But in even if you are taking 3 minutes, then also it is no problem, it is okay. But it should be as fast as possible. And in the last, you have to scan for your answer. Scanning is a process where you read a question and then you try to answer that particular question. So that is called scanning. So once you have skimmed, now suppose there is an example where they will ask asking questions regarding the event happened in 1950. So once you have skimmed, you will come to know that here somewhere here I have learned 1950, and then you will try to correlate the thing. You read the related sentences and then you will try to answer. So also this is a brief idea that how the step goes. For the details, I will be making the further videos where I will give the how skimming, scanning and all this is things goes over. Now this is a suggested time division strategy per passage. Like one passage, as I have said, that recommended time is 20 minutes. So in this 20 minutes, as I have said, that picture and titles and subtitles, whatever this, you should not spend more than 30 seconds of the total time, and it is sufficient to have an understanding of the content. And we need to anticipate the content when we will be looking to the pictures and reading to the titles and subtitles. Followed by this, you have to read the followed by this as step 2, which is reading instructions and question. You must not consume more than 2 minutes basically, though here I have mentioned 2.5 minutes, which is quite a liberal kind of timing strategy that I have given. But but in the advanced stage, you should try that it should not cross 2 minutes. But understand that fast reading of a question and not understanding the type of a question will not fetch you any result. So just balance the time, give yourself a sufficient time to read and understand the question, because the better you are understanding the question, you will be in a better position. So when you will be skimming, you will be getting answers of like 3 to 4 questions there only directly, if you have understood and read the questions carefully. Followed by this, skimming passage is done. The recommended time shown over here is 3 minutes. However, I advise that you should be able to do between 2 to 3 minutes. The faster you could skim the passage, the better it will be. Understand that when you will be skimming the passage, getting the meaning of the passage, understanding the meaning of the passage is not necessary. You just have to make yourself familiar with the passages. And finally this and then 13 minutes is the recommended time. Look, there will be around 13 to 14 question, and you will be having a 13 minute for answering each question. So from my perspective, I think this is quite a sufficient time. Some answers we get within 5 to 10 seconds, some takes quite a long time. So 13 minutes is on an average that you are supposed to spend on is answering the answer sheet, and another 1 minute that you have to transfer now whatever the answers that you have taken straightforwardly that time only. Like within this 20 minutes only, you should transfer your answer into your final answer sheet, so that you should not get shortage of time in the end. You should not pile up this work at the end of the test. So this is the suggested time strategy, but I advise you to devise your own strategy, and you just have to see that how much time you are taking for each particular step. But one must follow this strategy, because otherwise sometime we could not we are not, like there are many instances where people could finish, when I ask them to finish this same paper within 25 minutes, they make more correct answers. But when I ask them to do those things in a constrained time, then they start making mistakes. So practicing within time is very critical to your performance in the IELTS test. Next is, this is a typical tips and strategies that you could follow for a better IELTS reading performance in your academic test. But understand that this is just in tips and strategies. It should be combined with a better practice. Understanding only tips and strategies doesn't make you masters in these skills. And apart from this, there will be a lot of things that will be discussed in the later videos. So number one is that you need to try not to match words but aim for the meaning. During our school time, we are used to we had done lot of unseen passages, but there we always get a direct meaning. Here we won't be getting any direct, like you will be getting certain words and it will be paraphrased. That means it will be changed into the different sentences, but it both will mean the same. So we have to aim for the meaning of the words rather than to match the words. So actually it is like a keyword things that will be discussed later on. So people try to always look for a keywords, but it is not always given that only the keywords will be there. You have to approach for the meaning. Second is, you have to understand which type of questions comes in passage order and which doesn't. There are a lot of questions which comes in a passage order. So if we know that which type of questions come in a passage order, we could be assured that yes, like suppose the one question is from passage A, para A. So if we have answered from this, then next will come after this only, followed by that. In that way we could save our time and we could be assured that yes, we are going on the correct course. But not all questions comes on a passage order. There are few other questions where it is being jumbled up. So before going for an actual test, we need to practice and we need to understand that which type of questions always come on. Like for example, true, false and not given are more or always in a passage order. Likewise, there is a system for every question. So you need to master that skill. And your answer should make grammatical sense. Now sometime when we try to when we get an answers and we just, because in the passage it will be having a different tense, and here when you will be writing the answer, like suppose a gap filling or fill in the blanks you are doing, so it should make a grammatical sense. Like one example is preserving, and in the answer you answer if you will write the same preserving in the answer, it will not make a grammatical. It will be like preservation of environment. Preserving environment may be there given in the passage, but if the answer is like dash of environment, so preservation of, so it goes in that way. So you have to make it grammatically correct also. And when you will be practicing, it is advised that you should make a register. That mostly students, what they do, that when they analyze their question, like once you have done your IELTS practice test, then you will see that what are the questions that are right and wrong. So there are many, the students generally just focus on the wrong questions and they see why it is wrong. Though it is advised that they should also see if it is a correct answer, why it is correct, and you should write in a diary that why it was correct and why other type of questions was wrong. Because in that way you will be you will become much more conscious in the later time of your practice, that yes, these are the kind of mistakes that I do make, and you will be aware of such kind of an errors. So you should make a register. But if you're not able to make a register for everything, at least you should try to make a register for the wrong answers. But when you analyze, you should analyze right and wrong answers both, so that you should understand that even if it is the right, why it is right. Because sometimes we just guess it and we answer it and we get it as a correct answer. So we need to understand why we are making that particular choices. So in the end, you should understand that objective of the reading test, Many people think that objective of the reading test is to understand the passage. Remember, the objective of the reading test is not to understand the passage, but it is to get the correct answer of the question related to the passage. So it is your objective to get in correct answer, and you have to adopt your strategy so that you should get correct answer to the question, even though it is not necessary for you to get the meaning of the entire content. What I mean to say that in the advanced stage, even there are people who get the correct answer to the passage without even skimming the passage, without even complete reading the passage. So end of the time, understanding the passage is not important. If you are getting an answers by any by adopting any type of an strategy, you are well on course of a great performance, and that should be your objective. By any means, you have to get correct answer to your passage. So that's the end of the today's session. I hope that you have liked my instructions. So if you liked it, please like and subscribe this channel, and also please comment that how did you felt and what is your strategy that you follow for your IELTS test, and what changes you have done, and how did it improve your overall performance. I will be happy to see this all these things in my comment box. And if you have any personal inquiry, you could make at my phone number. Please do not call me. You could just WhatsApp my WhatsApp your inquiries into this, and you could also follow us at our Instagram page, and you could visit my website also at educomment.in. So thank you for being over here. I hope that this will bring I am able to share significant and considerable things with you, and we'll meet you on the next video. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.